Let's move on to Cowboys at Redskins. Redskins played good football for most of that game. But Dallas right now looks like a juggernaut. And Dallas has so much confidence. They're a good football team with an excellent defensive coordinator and a great defense. And on paper, they're so much better than the Redskins, especially with Geis out. We know the Redskins players were upset when Adrian Peterson was benched. Do they rally around him is the question. Do they rally around him is the question. With this spot, it opened up at 6.5, went down to 4.5, and it's been climbing back up. There are no 6.5s on the board, but there are 6s. This total opened at 44. My first instinct, and it was not at 44, because my first instinct was when I saw the movement going up, I was like, man, I like that over at 44. And then sitting here staring at this 46.5 all week, I'm beginning to like the under in Cowboys Redskins at 46.5, but I'm not sure if I could pull the trigger on that. Whale Capper, Cowboys Redskins.
Oof, this is an overlook or nothing for me. And honestly, like I was mentioning when we were talking about, how you adjust your power ratings here after week one, you want to do it very delicately. That said, we expected a Dallas, we knew that Dallas had a talented roster, and in the offseason, we knew they had some questions about the way they run their offense. And we didn't know anything about what Kellen Moore was going to bring to the table. And what we saw week one from them versus the Giants was nothing short of the most plus EV play calling, the most plus EV sequencing, the most plus EV kind of structuring of an offense that we've seen in Dallas in decades. And that is scary for the future of the NFC in terms, and especially someone like me who's pretty heavily invested in Eagles futures. I'm a little nervous now because I got to tell you, those Cowboys are going to give them an absolute run for their money because they are deep, they are talented, and really now the only thing holding the Cowboys back is that they have a coach who makes the wrong decision on fourth down, whether to go for it, kick it, or punt it. And so there's not that much really that's holding the Cowboys back from being an elite contender, in my opinion. And they didn't even have to use all their weapons to get that win versus the Giants. So, when I saw this open at 6.5, I thought, okay, yeah, that makes sense. The look ahead was 4.5. It opened 6.5. Sure. 2-point adjustment's fair. I got bet down pretty damn quick, which made me think, okay, I need to go reevaluate the Redskins and try to see if there was something I missed about the way they played in that game against the Eagles. Because honestly, they were competitive as hell in the first half. They had a 20-3 lead. It looked like they were going to smash everyone's fantasy, or survivor pool before it even really got off the ground there. And then but then they were a little confident coming out of halftime and let the Eagles right back in that game with some pretty impressive offense for themselves in the second half. But the Redskins team might not be as bad as we think. For sure, we were expecting the offensive line to look pretty poor, but they played great. They held that fierce Eagles D line at bay. So this should be a pretty good contest. I think this game sets up well to kind of stack fantasy players. Actually, I think this is an overlook, and I think you're going to see some fireworks in the DC area.
Okay, well that will be enough to keep me off the under. Donnie Rightside, Cowboys, Redskins.
Yeah, it's simple to me. It's another play that I made in the contest. Dallas Cowboys -4, -113. And it just gets back to some of the points that I'm talking about early in the season. The Washington Redskins, they just don't have much. If you're taking a look at an overall wide receiving core, including tight ends, which Jordan Reed's not going to play in this football game again. Vernon Davis gets banged up last week. They just don't stack up. Dallas is a really good football team. So what are you going to do? Hand it off to Darius Geis, who's not even playing this week again? An old man in Adrian Peterson, a terrible quarterback in Case Keenum. If it wasn't for broken coverages in the first half, the Eagles might have just walked away and stoned this Washington Redskins football team. It's about who has athletes. It's about whose offense is moving. Because when you take a look at the opposite side, Jonathan Allen's not even going to play in this game, one of the better defensive players that the Washington Redskins do have. And as Wellcapper said, what an impressive start for offensive play calling down in Dallas. You got Dak Prescott lighting on all cylinders. You have an offensive line that's healthy and ready to go. Zeke Elliott, another week under his belt. You have wide receivers that are making. Even old man Randall Cobb is running wide open in these play calls. It's amazing to watch. I want nothing to do with the Washington Redskins. There's just not enough talent for the Washington Redskins to score points. When I try to take a look at this game and cap it, yes, it's a division game. Yes, it's a home game for the Washington Redskins. But the number is still under 7, and I try to convince myself with some of the underdogs I take, do they have a realistic chance of winning this football game? Washington has no shot to win this football game.
Funny Bones says, attaboy, Donnie Rightside, Cowboys all day. Cowboys all day. All right, well, it must be nice sitting there with the -4 in your pocket, Donnie. I don't think I want to jump in here at 6. And I also don't want to be sitting here with a whole bunch of road favorites in week 2, but 4 is a great spot. Great spot to jump in. Great spot to jump in at 4. There's no doubt about it. You picked the perfect time.